From Studio 18 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is In Studio with Susan Minuk.
My next guest was named an honorary lifetime director of the Baycrest Foundation. In 2019, she was named to membership in the Book of Life of the United Jewish Appeal of Greater Toronto. Her leadership in the nonprofit and charity world has made her one of the most influential and admired women in Jewish philanthropy. Please welcome to the studio, Wendy Switzer Myles. Hi, Wendy. Thank you so much for being here at CJTV.
My pleasure, sweetheart.
So, Wendy, who instilled your humanitarian spirit?
My mother. My mother was always my favorite person, and when I was a little girl, she was very involved with B'nai B'rith Women, Eglinton chapter. And every Tuesday afternoon, she and her friends would go to various places to volunteer. They would go to Baycrest, they would go to Sunnybrook to visit the veterans, Lyndhurst Lodge, all those kind of things. And they would just, spend the afternoon with them and keep them company. Mm-hmm. And she would often pick me up after school, and I would accompany her. And I had a great time because I liked doing those things. They used to play bingo with the residents of Baycrest, card games, tea with cakes. I loved all those things. So I thought, this is a marvelous thing. And I found that the residents really got a kick out of seeing a little child because it's something they didn't often see. Mm-hmm. And it's funny how years and years later, when I started my volunteer career, and as you know, I've done all sorts of aspects, fundraising, organizing balls, organizing more balls, that was my specialty. But the thing I enjoyed most was the direct contact with the volunteers, with the residents. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed most the contact with the residents, and they enjoyed it too. It meant a lot to them that someone would come and spend time with them, and so I would always make a point of getting all dressed and made up and high heels, and they appreciated that. They felt that someone took the time to consider them and respect them, and it was the most gratifying thing for me. In fact, as I was thinking to myself, I never once left Baycrest feeling down. I always felt great. I felt that I had improved someone's day to some extent.
That's beautiful, and you absolutely are. And I love how your mother was the one who started this, and you'll always be thinking of her, always, because with all the volunteer work and everything that you do, she's right there with you in your heart.
Definitely.
Let's talk about one of your passion projects, Herzog Hospital, located in Jerusalem, Israel. As chairman of this organization, tell our audience what makes this hospital so special.
Yes. Herzog is Israel's oldest hospital, founded in 1894. It began its life as what used to be known as a mental asylum. However, after the war, with the influx of Holocaust survivors, it began to specialize in geriatric care and trauma because, of course, these people suffered unimaginable trauma. From there, they focused more on their background in psychiatry, as well as psychotrauma and PTSD, and geriatric care, geriatric cognitive research, and then their other area of expertise is respiratory. Beginning with respiratory for the elderly, they found that they were getting requests from other hospitals around Israel for assistance with respiratory cases, acute respiratory cases. And they found that their clientele in this area was getting younger and younger, to the point that at the present, in addition to respiratory care for the elderly, they also have the largest center in Israel for the care of children with acute respiratory conditions. And many of these, sadly, tragically, are children who will never know life away from a ventilator. It's beyond description.
It's well known that you were married to legendary men's clothier Myles. What was it that made Lou such a beloved figure in the men's clothing industry and beyond?
It was his personality. It was his charm. Although Lou had no formal training in any area of making suits, no design, no tailoring, nothing at all, he had an incredible eye for style and what makes a man look good. And as well as that God-given talent, he also had charm. You had to love him. It was impossible not to love Lou. Not everybody liked me, but they loved my husband. And whenever customers came into the store, they all became best friends. And I mean, countless. It wasn't just a case of coming in, buying a suit, and goodbye. It's let's go out to dinner and let's spend time together and come and visit me in Palm Springs and I'll meet you in New York. And they were all our best friends. So I would say it probably started with Vic Damone, famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer crooner and movie star. And Vic, one day, Lou had made him a white trench coat. And Vic, who was a very handsome man, was wearing it in New York one day, and he ran into Frank Sinatra, his old friend. And Sinatra said, "Where'd you get that coat?" And Vic wouldn't tell him. You know, people like to be exclusive. And Frank said, come on, I gotta have that coat. So Vic took off the coat and said, "Here, it's yours." And sooner or later, Frank found out where the clothes were being made, so he came to us. At the same time, Vic's best friend, on a personal level, was Lee Iacocca. And Lee kept saying to Vic, "You know, you look so good lately, you look different. What is it?" And Vic wouldn't tell him. And finally it came out. He was getting his clothes in Toronto at Lou Myles. So Lee took the Chrysler jet up to Toronto and we became very, very close.
So Wendy, thank you for being our guest here at CJTV. I know you've inspired all our viewers and me, of course, and you're very special. You know that.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
You're watching In Studio with Susan Minuk.
The Elevator Show and In Studio are signatures of Canadian Jewish TV.